Good.
Okay.
I never know when this thing starts.
Yeah?
Yeah. I just
Can we just say it starts?
Okay.
You should just start talking.
Boom. You're started.
Doesn't matter. We're started.
All right.
Are we started?
We're started. It
Are
says
we good?
when that's orange, that means we
Okay,
started.
so 3,
3,
2,
2, 1.
1.5.
All right.
Okay, go.
Hello there, traders.
Hi there.
We
traders.
are back. Everything's late. Nobody dies. Episode number 32 coming to you from Black Cat Comics.
I call it Case the Mondays.
Really?
Mondays. Yes, I do. Yeah.
You've been in such a positive mood the past few weeks.
Oh, shut up. I really have.
That,
I have.
That off-camera snicker,
Yeah.
that's the employees laughing at that comment.
Oh, yeah. About time somebody told him.
Or the possible unemployed. No.
No.
If you're in the area, pop in, say hi to Beck. Everybody loves Beck.
Yeah. Hi, Beck.
Hey, Beck.
See, we said it. You should too.
All right. All right. So episode 32. If you're watching us now, we're still not quite on what's the name of that app? Whatnot again. I'm still looking at a few things.
I thought you were going to say on time.
There's actually another player, Drip.
That's what Ron was saying. It is a dripper.
I don't want to know about Ron's dripper, but
that's a different site. That's OnlyFans.
Captain. So look up Captain Electric on OnlyFans.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Shocking.
Oh, live! You guys are live.
And they call it the shocker. You know what? I don't have enough subs yet that they're really going to flag me. So.
It's not going to be that.
Hopefully, so if you want to get us flagged for that type of content, then
just wait.
Hit the like button, subscribe.
There you go. There you go.
And that'll let YouTube know that we need to be monitored like a couple of children.
Yeah, which we fully are. Hi, Joe Fox.
But hey, Joe, how's it going? So Joe from Japan, not from Japan, lives in Japan.
Wow.
Sends me the coolest books. Like, these things are bangers. And yeah. And he's the one
that has it
that sent me those Playboy. Yeah, he's the one with the Amazing Spider-Man.
Had to bring it up. Had to bring it up. All right.
So
the only Spider-Man book that
Spider-Man
is the only Spider-Man that I don't have that issue.
Yeah.
So, of all the series, that's the only one I don't have.
Yeah, great guy. We actually talked. I probably talk more with Joe than just about anybody else about comics.
Well,
yeah. Perfect example of somebody that's into the hobby for the love of the books.
Nice. I like that.
That's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Very good.
So yeah, if you like old comic books and old pop culture references and just old guys in general,
I was gonna say old
this
dudes,
is a channel for
there
you.
You go. Yeah.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Oh my God. So what do we got here?
I thought this would be a little bit easier. So the guy that was trying to buy that book that he bought that Amazing from was trying to buy it back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we haven't got a grade on that yet, I don't think.
Yeah, don't fall for that. Sell it to me instead. Make him mad. Oh man. No, what do you got there? Venom? Got some Venom here?
I just threw that up there. I don't know. I was not prepared. I didn't bring books or anything like that.
That is a great cover.
That is a beautiful cover. I actually like that more than... Actually, I like a lot of these. You even made the comment that a lot of the art on these throwback covers are a little bit better than the original.
Well, okay, the thing I like about this one is the original was the holographic stuff, and there was no background. It was just like, oh God, shiny, you know.
Right.
And the art was Mark Bagley, who's a fine artist. He's on time. That's cool.
Solid.
You know, it's good. He's on time. But you know, he's a dependable artist. I wouldn't put him on the upper echelon of artists.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, if you want a book to come out on time, you want a book to be drawn the same way every single time, he's your guy.
He's a good,
and sometimes I think that's really more important than being splashy.
He's a solid franchise player.
Yeah,
he really is.
You know, his Spider-Man, the profile of his Spider-Man looks a little bit like Spider-Ham sometimes. It's a little weird. It's got that burp, you know. And that it was an okay cover. It was kind of cool, but this is great. This is everything I knew that cover could have been. It never was. It's and it's such a cool image of them doing it's like a WWE thing where they're like, yeah, it's really cool. I love it.
Yeah, I like a lot of the throwback stuff. Look, has been really cool. I commented on the Doctor Strange one.
Yeah, that was really cool.
I think they did a great job with that one as well.
And I like the Wolverine one too. It was the Wolverine #1 limited series, that Frank Miller cover.
Right.
But it was, and the other thing that I didn't think I mentioned last time, and that I really like about this is the branding of it. They got the corner box. They have so whenever this book came out, that they're homaging,
right?
They do exactly the same cover design. They've got the corner box. They've got the
trade dress.
Yeah. Everything. And I really like that. And because there's a lot of that stuff back in the, even though there's a bunch of questionable stuff that happened in the 90s, as far as comics were concerned, there was some whatever. I really liked the design of a lot of it. Like the trade dress. Yeah. I love those cover boxes or the corner boxes. I wish they would bring that back. Those were so cool. And it's almost like now the more they put on there, the more they think it detracts from the cover.
I think that's an accurate statement.
I don't think it does, though. It makes it look like a comic book. I don't want it to look like a novel.
Well, that's the issue that I have, and I was kind of going through this in my head the past few days. I've been going through all my inventory at the house, and I've got just a ton of books that I picked up in a trade from a local guy, and he went to 616 and Dynamic Forces and places like that and bought their sets because he liked the cover art, right? And he ended up with a trade dress and a Virgin of all these books. It's like Venom #1 and the Spider-Man #1 and all that. And I don't care a lot for the Virgin covers.
I like the art on them, but I wish they would just make them into posters.
Yeah.
Or you know what? Use the Virgin cover for, I don't know. And maybe, I don't know. If you can put the corner box and the trade dress and all that kind of stuff on the issues, and you don't want to put all that on there. You're not like, oh, okay, well, I don't want to put all that on a trade. Well, then just do the title smaller on a trade. You put it on the spine, and then you put your UPC and all your information. Use that for your art thing. You know what I mean? But I like it when comics look like comics.
Yeah,
and they don't look like comics half the time.
And that's anymore. A lot of my thing as well. And like we've got a lot of friends that obviously feel different. The Hive guys, and I like the way that they do it. Jonathan has a real good eye for, he really knows what books to go after.
Yeah, he does.
Like he's smart when he's looking through solicitations to figure out what books he wants to do his exclusive covers on. And James has a real, they both do, but James has a real great eye for art. And when they brought that together, like we get some really high quality art on subject matter that's really cool.
Yeah.
We were talking when he was in here. Jonathan was in here yesterday, and we were talking about his Cult of Dracula.
Yeah,
Cult of Dracula is not. It's been optioned. They're looking at a film, and they're in pre-production. So the book is starting to take off.
Yeah.
But it's who did that originally? It wasn't Source Point. It was.
It was like a little indie book.
Yeah, it was
at first,
like
and then Source Point picked it up.
Real indie book, and Source Point picked it up for the reprint. So that first iteration of that book is the one that's going to be worth all the money.
Yeah.
In the secondary market, what we're seeing is that Hive cover, because it was an interesting subject, the vampires, the Dracula connection, and all that. And they found this artist out of the Philippines just out of nowhere, Maria Key, that just killed those covers. Like her, I think out of, I go the last 2 years that Maria Key, Cult of Dracula #1 is probably my favorite exclusive cover.
Well, and with Source Point, it's always hard to tell. And somehow these guys, 90% of the time, get it right.
They do,
you know what I mean? They do a great job with this. Sorry. But it's like, man, it's tough with Source Point to get it right because you've got, and Vault and Scout were like that at first, I feel, but they've got I think a higher quality level now. But it's almost like anybody could come up and say, I want to put this comic out. It doesn't, the content doesn't matter. The interiors, the art, the rate, nothing matters. Just, I want to put this comic out. They'd be like, okay, cool. And Source Point is really tough because if you don't see some of that interior art and you don't read some of it, and you don't know what you're going to get. Right. And these guys, I mean, like I will say probably 80 to 90% of the things that they have done with Source Point have been the strong books that strong books that I've really enjoyed. And they're a really mixed bag company, getting better, I feel. I think the quality level's going up. But yeah, they had some stuff that I remember when they first came out that I was like, okay, yeah. I made all those noises toward it. I was just alone in the room making those noises, holding the book.
It's pretty interesting because another company that does that a lot is Bad Idea.
I wouldn't know.
Well, they've got some. Tankers was an excellent book, and ENIAC was an excellent book. Even Sleigh Bells was a pretty fun read, but then they do a book about an undead pizza man just out of nowhere, and because they're just trying to publish everything that comes their way to get to get that ball rolling. Yeah. And I mean, they've got other issues at that company, but
I got, I've got a lot of issues with the way that's done.
Right.
And I mean, I still feel that if you're going to have a comic company, you should be going through, and I think they should all play together. We've talked about this before, and they should all be playing together. We should have, Random House, Diamond, and Lunar. If you're going to do it, then do it. But I think Lunar needs to be sold to someone else. I don't think that it should still be cheap ass local or whatever whatever it's called. What is it? Discount comic book shop.
Is that Discount?
Yeah, it is. They own Lunar. That's right. They are Lunar.
I keep getting it confused because the other company, when
DCBS, it was Midtown was the other company.
Midtown owned the other.
Yeah. And I think that's a really bad conflict of interest there, because I've talked to people that, and I'm not saying they're doing this on purpose, but I mean, I've talked to people that have been, other retailers, and they're like, oh my God, yeah, we're short 20 copies of this book. They just forgot to put it in, and people make mistakes. I get it, and they're like, oh yeah, we were short of this, or we didn't get copies of this. And they're like, oh, yeah, we don't have any. But you go on DCBS's site, and they've got tons of them to sell to you.
Right.
And I feel like if you're going to have a distribution company and you make mistakes like that, that should come out of your inventory.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. If I were a distribution company and I'm shipping things out and I screw up, then I have to take that out of my back stock and give that, because these people, they ordered it. They paid for it. You don't have it. And it's like, oh, well, I guess you won't get that issue this month. That could kill a small shop.
Right.
Like, a little, like a tiny mall shop, or, like a tiny hole in the wall shop, or like a shop that doesn't do a ton of business with comics, that could really hurt that store. But I think that DC, Marvel, Bad Idea, everybody, man, if you're going to do a comic, and they need to loosen up how they do that too, Diamond and the rest of them, Because I mean, there's been a lot of instances where if they don't get enough orders, Diamond's just like, yeah, we're not carrying it. That's ridiculous to me. That's stupid. It doesn't matter if there's 1,000 copies sold or if there's 100,000 copies sold. And if you're a company and you're dealing with a distributor, you need to, as a distributor, and you've got to put that stuff out. People ordered it. You've got customers waiting for that. And I think that they should all, just pull from that warehouse or whatever the publisher is. You should be able to use all three publishers. If you can't get it from one, you go to the next publisher. You have your choices.
Right.
And I don't think it should be any of this, well, you're worthy, you're not. I don't know who you are or whatever. Okay, you're my friend, you can carry it. There shouldn't be anything like that. That's right. I just hate that business model. And then the other thing with Bad Idea that pisses me off is they tell you what you're going to order.
Yeah, I think more than anything that
ain't
hurt them.
It's not going to happen with me. You don't. This is my store. You don't tell me what I'm going to order.
I mean, they are great books, but
that might be. But if nobody sees them, who cares?
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of great movies that came out on VHS in 1987, and nobody's ever seen them, and nobody's ever going to because they're out of print. And if you don't see them, who cares?
There are in this hobby, there are at least 50% of us that are over the age of 35, and we're going to be set in our ways, and we're going to do things the way we want.
But you're going to say we're going to die, and then the comic industry is going to go away.
Yeah, it's going to be in trouble.
We're going to die, and there's going to be a bunch of 18-year-olds on the phone going, "Comic what? Who's a comedian? I don't understand what you mean. I got to go."
But yeah, there's a lot of us that are older, and I don't fall into this category, but I know a lot of customers that are they come in here and they're like, I will buy my books from Greg. I want to read ENIAC, but Greg's where I buy my books.
Yeah,
that's the only place I buy my books. And I would think that there's enough of the customer base that has that attitude, and it works vice versa. There's a lot of people that go into the nerd store that are like, I'm only buying my books here.
Yeah,
I'm never going to step foot into Black Cat again because Greg made fun of my shoes. Whatever.
Well, I mean, God, did you see them?
Yeah, they were pretty good trophies.
They were terrible.
So there's
they're
portion of the public that they're never going to be able to serve.
Right. I mean, there are people that were so loyal to Night Flight. I did not know who these customers were. I'm like, oh, okay, you just moved here or something? And they're like, no, I've lived here my entire life. That was just my store. And when they closed, they came in here.
Right.
And it's like, oh, okay. Or Comics Utah or something like that, And, I mean, it's going to be the same thing here, or anywhere. When I finally decide to hang it up, there's going to be people that are going to go into, vaults and be like, oh, yeah, hey, do you guys do holds? Or vice versa, because they've never set foot there, but they need a new shop. And then there are some people that were so loyal to them that they will only buy online now.
That makes no sense.
They hate me. They hate Volts. They hate, what I mean? They hate whoever. And I'm like, oh my God, come on. Just what? Okay, sure. Fine. Whatever. And that's silly to me.
So you're really ultimately shooting yourself in the foot by only offering
you are
those deals to select shops.
Yeah. I mean, and what's the print run on these things on the Bad Idea ones? What are they? Maybe 10,000.
Yeah,
maybe.
They can't be real great.
No, they can't. So think about this. If you were offering your books through Diamond, Lunar, and Random House, all three at the same discount. It has to be the same discount. And you've got 3,000 shops. Okay. All you need to do is sell 5 copies to each of those shops, and you've already boosted your sales by half.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But to running around saying, "Oh, look what we're exclusive,"
Yeah.
Well, you're exclusively not selling very much, is what you're doing.
Yeah.
You are shooting yourself in the foot.
And definitely one.
And I mean, that's just an example. That's just I don't mean to pick on them, but I mean that's just an example. And You know, I mean, I don't know why, I don't know why the distributors don't have a separate section for retailer exclusives. Diamond in previews should have a spot from retailer exclusives. They should be reaching out to retailers.
That is a really good idea.
And saying, hey, do you guys have a bunch of exclusive covers that you haven't sold? Will you sell them to us at, $3 each or whatever? Because, that just ain't going to cost you that much,
right.
If you get that many copies or, and even you sell it to us at $5 each, or not even sell it to us. We're just going to, we will list them here. When we get our final orders in, we'll contact you. You tell us how many you have available. We'll contact you. We will cut you a check. You send those books, and then we'll ship them out to the other stores if somebody else wants that cover. Why don't they do that, man? Then you get to the point where all these people that are going under because they spent too much money, these shops might make it.
Right.
If you're doing, an exclusive every month and you're spending all that money on that, you've put your money down, and what are you getting back? Maybe you made that money back. You're really not making that much money on those anymore.
Right.
So why not, man?
Well, I know that, and there's been some talk back and forth with those type of retailers. I know that the Hive guys have worked with other people that do exclusives,
right,
and traded back and forth, and
and
that type of thing. But yeah, if somebody could centralize that, and it wouldn't be that hard for Diamond to do that.
No, it wouldn't. They have all of our information,
and they've got the infrastructure.
Yeah,
like they could very easily make that happen.
Yeah. You put one person in charge of exclusives. You have one person that gets in touch with the stores. You've got one, you roll it out. You have like a Zoom meeting or something like that. If you want to know, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. If you'd like to participate, awesome. If not, that's cool. It wouldn't be that tough, and there's a lot of things where you were saying you're setting your ways. There's a lot of things where I'm setting my ways too. But, with my personal collecting maybe, and a lot of stuff with my store too, like I'm not going to start carrying games. I am a comic book shop. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I like to do. Right. But you also have to make adjustments based on how the world is.
Right.
And the world changes, things change, commerce changes, reading changes. And if you don't adjust a little bit with that, then you're toast. But you have to remain who you are while you adjust. And that's the hard part with it.
Yeah. I think one thing about the way you do business that really impressed me is there's a lot of shops, smaller comic shops in particular, that will impress their vision of collecting on the customers.
Yeah.
I've been into shops that are like, well, we're not going to carry that. We're not going to do that because that's not how you collect comic books.
Yeah.
And when you come into your shop, your attitude is, that's not how I do it, but knock yourself out. There's 10 of them right there.
Yeah. Right.
Like, you have books that I know you'd never touch in your personal collection.
Yeah.
But somebody's going to be interested in them. So,
that's the thing. I'm opening a retail shop. I'm not opening my own museum/collection in here. Right. I get that at home. I don't need that here. I don't need to pay rent and insurance and employees to have another collection of mine. It's ridiculous. And it's like, I've been to shops like that too, where, they're like, oh yeah, this guy's a jerk. We don't carry his stuff. Or it's like, I don't like this book. It's stupid. I'm not going to carry it. It's, yeah, I don't read everything in here. Of course I don't. It's impossible. But if you only care, I don't read that much manga, but I got a big manga section.
Right.
I don't actually read trades. I like issues. I don't read trades. The only, trades, graphic novels, whatever you want to call it, that I have in my collection, they're either like, I've got some limited signed ones, or if it's like an original graphic novel, if it's an original story, yes, I will pick that up.
Right.
But I'm Huge Spider-Man fan. I don't have one Spider-Man trade in my collection. Not a single one.
Yeah, I don't think.
Yet, look what I have behind us.
Yeah, I don't think there are any Spider-Man graphic novels.
There are bigger ones. There's actually no. That's true. Or that's not true. There is the Spider-Man season 1, the hardcover, which was supposed to be their version of year 1. That was really cool. And then there are like the oversized ones, like the magazine-sized ones, like Hooky and all that kind of stuff they did back in the 80s. I wouldn't really call them graphic or trades. That's what I say. Unless they're original stories, then I'll pick them up. But otherwise, I just don't want to do that. Just because I prefer the individual issues.
Well, I'm very much a floppy collector. I collect single issue books, and
those are floppy too. They're just bigger. Hardcovers aren't, but the softcovers are.
I get. To me, I always thought trade paperback was a collection of the floppies, where they get like all the books in the Streets of Poison and put them in one volume, and that's a trade paperback.
Yeah.
And a graphic novel is an original story.
Yes, which is what it is.
Right.
I mean, that's a true description of what it is. A graphic novel is an original story. But then people started, I still get people in here that say, "Oh, I don't read comics. I just read graphic novels." I'm like, okay, let me show you these then.
Yeah.
And because that makes it seem adult. Comic books sound childish to some people still. But, if you say, "Oh, it's a graphic novel," that sounds like literature.
Right.
To me, a graphic novel is like, dirty romance book. There's a lot of graphic stuff in that novel. Wow. But I mean, it's, again, though, I'm not, if somebody comes in and says that, I'm not going to be like, well, actually, a graphic novel is an original story that has never shown up in the monthly periodical comic books. I'm just going to be like, yeah, they're over here. Your card's like good, right? Okay, good. All right, fantastic. It doesn't matter. And that's the thing. And I thank you for saying that you're impressed with something with me. About time. But I know, right? But yeah, it's, you can't impose your collecting on customers. It's just not, you just don't do that. And it always feels like you're being corrected and talked down to, I feel, and the only exception to that is when people will come in and they'll say, "Hey, do you have anime?" And I'm like, "I don't. I've got the manga. Are you looking for movies or comics?" Because I want to make sure, because people don't know. They just think anime is everything Japanese.
Right.
It's like, and I want to make sure that they're not looking for movies. And I try not to be like, that's actually a manga. I don't try and go full comic book guy on them. Yeah. But I want to make sure that they're looking for something that I can provide to them. And that's the only reason I do that.
Right.
But it's not like somebody came in and asked for graphic novels. I'd be like, you mean trade paperbacks? Because we don't have graphic novels. We have very few of them.
And comparatively, there are very few graphic novels.
Yeah, there really are. There's not a lot.
Most everything on the wall is volumized and floppy. So.
Yeah. Now there is Z2 does predominantly. Well, I think they do only graphic novels now. I think they're just a graphic novel company. That's Dave Chisholm did Canopus or Canopus or however you want to say it. Which I just realized I never read the last 2 issues. I read those the other night. God, that's so good. But he did Enter the Blue, the Charlie Parker one. They do mostly music graphic novels now. They did the Joan Jett one. They did a David Bowie one. They do a lot of really cool stuff. But those are truly graphic novels because that's the only way they're published. So they're pretty much a graphic novel company now. They used to do decent amount of comics. And that's a story in itself. Those guys, but
yeah, I've been really impressed with Scout's comic tags. And I'm not even sure if they're even doing them anymore.
They are. That it just
they?
always sounded like something you need to see a dermatologist for. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I got
digital,
into
right?
them. They are.
Okay.
I got into them because Comic Tom was sending them with his monthly mystery mail call for
Comic Tom's comic tags.
Yeah, and they were original. So it's a little like trading card that you get, and there's a code on it. You open it up, and you get the code. It's a unique code, and you enter it on the webs, the interwebs, and you get a graphic novel, a trade paperback. That's how I read them all.
Like a physical one? Like
no,
they send you one, or
no? It's digital.
Okay, all right. That's what I thought. It was digital. That's why I haven't gotten any
digital.
of them, because I don't like digital comics.
It's a very cool concept. I think that was their kind of wave of the future thing. I don't know if they're still doing them or really pushing them.
They are, because they're on FOC all the time. They're not really pushing them very hard, but they are doing them still.
I mean, they're an excellent alternative for people that want to, that don't mind reading digitally. Because a lot of that stuff, let's face it, I'm not going to read them all. I'm not going to buy every issue of them all. And
you should. It's cool.
It's okay. It was okay.
That's cool.
It was a good read. The art was
That's
great.
cool. Okay, it's okay. Whatever. Yeah, but cool. It's and but that's the thing, is it's like, okay, digital stuff, again, not my thing. I have a really hard time reading comics digitally, and it's because I read them for 30 years before that was even a thing, and I like trained my brain. This is a comic book. A digital comic is not a comic book to me. It's a digital comic. It's not a book. A book is something you hold in your hand. It's like an ebook or something. It's like, no, it's a digital story. And it just doesn't make sense to me to read it, and I don't like to read it, because I think it's just because that the tactile. I want to hold a book and read it.
Well, and a lot of comic collectors are like that, and that's why comics as a medium are still strong. They're still healthy. There's a lot of people that disagree with that right now, but I feel comics are healthy and doing just fine.
They're not going to go away.
Yeah.
And, somebody, I get asked that probably once a week. Do people still buy, like, a lot of people still buy, physical? I'm like, yes, here we are. Yep. Yes, we do. And it's just, it's a different way to read it. And if we can do that, and those publishers still make money doing it, then it will help keep the physical media alive. But it's funny that physical media is really having a comeback right now, I feel.
Yeah. Across the board.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot
just
of
records, physical media. Yeah.
A lot of LPs being sold.
Yeah.
New press LPs, which is kind of impressive to me.
Yeah.
I don't mean, you go down and you get the wall at Walmart.
Right.
Like, those records, those LPs are going to be around forever.
Yeah.
But
like a new album that came out.
Yeah. Like Megan Thee Stallion, you go down and buy.
Never heard of him.
Yeah. But
Megan.
And then
never heard of
that transitions us to Jack White. Like, what the hell?
I still don't know what the deal is with that. Man. I still don't know what it is.
I don't get it.
I don't understand it.
Like, the hottest comic book this week, and if you picked up this book or know about what we're talking about, drop a message. Tell us what you thought of this book.
I don't understand it. He didn't draw it, though.
I'm not sure anybody actually drew anything.
I don't think they did. I think
it's AI artwork.
Oh, man,
which is a dangerous
boy, that ain't good
road to go down.
Yeah,
especially for one of the big two.
Yeah, that's not good. If that really is, then I'm not good with that.
Yeah,
I'm not at all good with that. And you've got artists that are working their butts off to try and get things out, You know, and it doesn't. I mean, you know, it doesn't matter. You got your I don't like this art, I don't like that art, but it's art.
Right.
You know, it is a person sitting down and drawing something. You know, and you can always tell a difference between drawing something by hand and drawing something digitally.
Definitely.
You can always tell a difference with that. You know, and even if it's digitally colored, you can still tell if that's been drawn by hand because there's nuances in there, and you can't fake that. You know, and if we're now getting AI stuff doing that, I don't like that.
You know, and I can't say that that's definitely what happened, but that's what it looks like to me.
It looks like it.
And when you hear the story, now I'm going based on the two.
I don't know what the story is.
The two different websites. Okay, it starts with in Flashpoint #2, they renamed the Joker.
Oh, okay, yeah,
to Jack. Oh, what? I can't remember.
Oblivion, Osborne,
Jack
Oswald?
something.
Oswald?
Is it Oswald? I thought that was Cobblepot.
Well, it is, but that's not like the only person named Oswald.
Anyway, so Jack White, and they were named after Jack White from White Stripes, who is a musical artist that I think extremely highly of. I love his work. Brilliant musician. Stay out of comic books. But
so, you're listening, Jack? You're listening right now?
Whoever it was that created this comic book, Flashpoint #2, named the character Jack Oswald White after Jack White.
Mm-hmm.
So in the latest issue of what is it?
Superman,
or
Batman, Superman, World's Finest, because they can't have one title.
A fantastic 60s, 70s run. But so in the latest issue, Jack White's record company produced the art for cover D. Why issue 11 or whatever is going to cover D is beyond me. But cover D was produced by the record company. Not by Jack White, but by the record company that he owns. So there's a tie there with Jack White. And apparently he appears as a character somewhere in the book. I don't know. And they say that it's him on the cover.
It looks like Batman and Superman to me.
So that's kind of the full story, and because of the Jack White tie-in, it's like the Eminem Spider-Man thing not too long ago. Because of that, we were seeing $75 sales the day of release. $75.
Why did they sell all those to Jonathan? Because they asked, and they're good guys. That's why.
Yeah. But that's insane to me.
Yeah, that's like, you know, you're going to be able to find those in the back issue bins for $5,
right,
in a year, in a month. I mean, so what? No?
I think that you'll find the Eminem Spider-Man covers in back issues. I mean, they're not going to be $5, but you'll be able to pick them up off Whatnot for $10 next week.
Well, but that was a different situation, though, because that was only available on his website.
Right.
But nobody really said that. Yeah.
Right.
It's like Batman and the Beatles.
Batman
and
the Beatles.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember that.
I've got that issue.
Batman was with the Beatles?
There was a band that was, I actually just read that. That's awesome. I just read that a couple months ago. I just got that issue and read it a couple months ago. It's got the Beatles on the front, but it's not the Beatles, but it's very clearly made to look like the Beatles. It may have been a Neil Adams one, actually. I can't remember, man. I can't remember who drew it. It may have been Neil, but very clearly supposed to be the Beatles, and it was like a murder mystery. And, they're like, oh, somebody killed somebody and blah, 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 blah. And 222. Yep. It was Neil Adams. Okay. See, I know 3 things. That's the third thing. That's the third thing I've known this week.
222.
Yeah.
I have done a few of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And they were like, oh, who, so what is the Paul is dead thing.
Right.
And they were doing the Paul is dead, and they're like, this member of the band is dead. And it's like, oh my gosh, we got to find out who killed their bass player that looks like Paul McCartney. So yeah, it's kind of the same thing. Although I feel like that was like an actual story. It's kind of like when Kiss was in Howard the Duck. You know what I mean? Like that was a story that they weren't like, oh, there's a new character in Batman named Paul Frederick McCartney. This is just a weird way to do things, man. It's really weird. It's super weird. I don't understand this one.
And I'm kind of with you. The repercussions of that. I mean, I don't care. I really, if Jack White wants to be on the cover of Batman, if Adele wants to be on the cover of Wonder Woman next, I don't care. But when we start going down the road of not caring about the artwork itself,
I hate this term, but that's a slippery slope.
It really is. It really is.
And it's going to be, it's I don't know, man. It's really weird that a record company, obviously owned by Warner Brothers Records, but a record company is saying, oh, we're going to do a cover, as a record company is going to do a cover. Because I didn't see an artist name on that. It just said the record company, didn't it?
Well, and so I use Cover Price for current market values, and they do a great job. And they have
so do I, literally. Sorry,
but they have it listed as artwork by Jack White,
but it's not.
And Key Collector has it listed as artwork provided by Jack White's record company.
Yeah. Okay.
So these are the two top apps that people use to look at current market value, current market trends.
Mm-hmm.
Like number 1 and number 2, Key Collector and Cover Price. So there's really no clear answer there. When we were here, I think it was Jonathan had one in his hand, and he was pointing it out that they have something in really fine print on the back talking about artists, but maybe not artists. And so we're really not sure who created the artwork for it or how it was done. And
I don't like that.
It looks like a TikTok AI cover.
It does. Yeah, it looks like it looks like a Instagram filter cover.
Right.
Or TikTok AI. I guess that's the same thing. I'm old. I don't understand this stuff. I don't get this,
TikTok
man.
is where you get up and do the dances. And, you should check out my TikTok.
Yeah. I've got a plan when I'm 80. If it's still around, I'm going to do a TikTok channel.
There you go.
And I'm just gonna get really wasted and say weird stuff on it. I'm just gonna get really high and talk about, I don't know, roof shingles or or I'm gonna get super, super drunk and try and write poetry and just little 40-second snippets. It's gonna be fun.
So, a little concerning that AI might be kind of eking its way into the hobby a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I'll guarantee you, if DC can get away with selling an AI cover, they're going to replace half their cover artists with computers.
Absolutely.
And it's not like those guys can go out and get a job at the McDonald's drive-thru because they're going to computers too.
Right. So, exactly.
These are unemployed artists.
And that's, I'm finally starting to understand some of the stuff with the AI thing, because I not too long ago, I was looking at Twitter posts from people, and they were saying things about from artists, and they're like, AI is not going to replace comic art. It is disingenuous, and it's horrible, and it's taking money out of our pockets, and it's doing this, and I wasn't exactly sure what they were talking about, but I'm starting to get it now, and I'm starting to fully agree with them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of creators that are like, I might get in trouble for saying this, but there's a lot of creators that are, like, oh, piracy is taking money out of our pockets. Well, I'm sorry, but somebody that only pirates comics is never going to come in here and buy anything.
And it's very interesting that you said this is kind of off on a tangent. We've actually brought Jonathan up a lot in this conversation. He got
His spirit is here, isn't it, buddy?
Yeah.
There you go.
Jonathan, and Jonathan, I know you watch, but he brought that up in a group yesterday, and there was a long conversation, and he took a bit of heat for talking about copyrights and who owns this art and who owns these characters.
Now, I don't,
allowed,
and don't get me wrong, I don't think pirating stuff is a great thing.
Right.
I'm not defending that.
Right, absolutely.
I'm not defending that at all. And what I'm saying, is if somebody is only pirating things, they're not going to be a person that's going to come in and buy stuff. They have absolutely no motivation to spend any money on any of it. It's like people that pirate movies. They're not going to go to a theater. They're not going to buy it on DVD. They probably don't even have a streaming service. They just pirate movies. They just that's it, right? Now I almost sometimes do encourage reading something online in certain situations. Okay. When somebody comes in, they're like, oh, you only have issue 1, 3, 4, and 5. How can I read number 2? And I'm like, well, we'll probably get it in at some point. Well, why don't you just buy these 4 right now? And then if there is a site you can look at, read that number 2, and then but come in and buy it when we have it. It's a temporary replacement almost for me. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, and these are people that are in here plunking down their money on comic books. So I think that's a little bit of a different situation. And I don't know. It's a weird thing.
And there's actually a lot of this kind of stuff going on right now. I don't expect you to know this, but there's a big to-do going on in the Dungeons and Dragons community.
I still don't fully understand that.
With gaming licenses and
I still don't totally understand
artists for their work and that type of thing. So, if these big companies can get away with not paying an artist and running, 3 geeks at minimum wage in the basement to run comic art.
Oh, yeah.
That's what they're going to do.
Oh, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. And especially, I hate to single it out, but especially DC right now with the money problems that AT&T and Discovery are having. They're culling shows from HBO and all their streaming stuff because they don't want to pay residuals to people because they don't have any money. That's crazy to me. That is crazy. It's like, okay, nobody can access this because we don't want to pay somebody, $1 every time it's streamed. That is insane for a huge company like that to be in that sort of trouble. You bet they're going to go to AI.
I think they're looking at all of that and kind of trying to determine. I don't know what I was going to say. It was very intelligent, though, wherever I was going with it.
Yeah, I bet it was. Yeah, so, I can feel the intelligence just rolling off. I caught some.
So it's really, honestly, the whole AI and artists and all that is a conversation that we could talk about for hours and maybe something should be revisited. In the chat, let us know what you think.
I have a Greg Stradamus prediction as well, though, based on some of this. My prediction is in the next 2 years there will be no creator-owned stuff at DC. None. Absolutely none. DC or Marvel, really. Right. I don't think either one of them will have any. What is that? Okay. I don't think either one of them will have any creator-owned stuff because the corporate entities are so big and they're not making that much money on comics. Why would they be giving other people money to do it? You know what I mean? It's like, they have to, if they put these characters in there, they have to credit them. They have to, if they're in movies, they have to pay the creators some money, not a lot, but some. They have to do that. because there is a legal precedence for that.
Right.
But man, if you came up and said, I want to do a book for you and I want to own this character, they're going to look at you and laugh.
Yeah.
They're going to be, no way, we ain't splitting anything with you.
And I'm almost really okay with that. I'd be okay with them, let them be the stewards of Spider-Man and Batman,
right,
and all these characters. Let them be the place where these people, because they're not going to get top quality artists with that attitude. So let them be the place.
They may not be getting any artists with that attitude with the AI stuff.
Right. Let them be the place where these young artists go to cut their teeth on the industry, and then let them move on to somewhere where they have an ownership stake in what they create.
And you go to Boom, you go to Dark Horse, you go to Image, although I don't know about Boom right now.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm not sure about Boom.
Let's just focus on Image. Image. I think Image is always going to be around because they constantly reinvent themselves. They're smart with that.
Dark Horse is doing a great job right now.
Dark Horse is, but boy, they've seen some really slim times. Yeah. There were times when I would look through previews and there's no book for Dark Horse. Right. They're like, hey, we have some Hellboy lunchboxes and some T-shirts and some figures. We have like a game. Do you want to buy a game? There were literally no comics in there. Yeah. I think they're coming back pretty well right now, but it's going to depend on how they deal with some of these licenses.
Right.
I don't think paying Bendis a ton of money to go over and do his creator or own stuff there. I don't think that's the answer. Bendis is not. Bendis is not a company savior anymore.
Right.
He was when he went to Marvel. He literally saved Marvel. If it weren't for him and Joe Quesada and Axel Alonso, Marvel would have been sold off. Like they probably would have sold off their characters, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, they saved that company, those three guys. But I don't think he's the guy to do it anymore. No. Because, his creator owned stuff, as good as it is, United States of Murder, really good book. Powers, I always enjoyed Powers. Man, that stuff just doesn't sell anymore. Yeah. Pearl, I could hardly give that away. And that's a beautiful book.
Right.
But he's not that guy anymore.
And there are a handful of people that could be that guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree, Bendis is not it.
Yeah, I don't and I don't think David Mack's it. I don't think Bendis is it. I don't think Owning is it. I don't think any of those guys in that little
I think
group.
It's some of the outlier. Ron V's that guy. I firmly believe that. If somebody could get that kind of contract with Ron V to let him come in and just create his world, I think that would be a company saving creator.
It would be a company helper. I don't think it would be a company saver.
I think it could.
Because his creator owned stuff doesn't do that well. But he does come in and bump things up. Like the Detective, people were not buying Detective until he was on it.
Right.
Even with Kenyon, they weren't buying it.
I mean, Swamp Thing was brilliant.
Yeah. Came in and actually sold Swamp Thing for the first time in who knows how long.
Even with all of that, Layla Starr, one of probably the most underrated book of the last 5 years.
But see, that's what I'm saying. I sold the first one well because it was, Ron V's new series. And there were 100 covers, and people bought it and flipped it. 2, 3, 4, not hardly anything.
But I don't think that that's a Ron V issue. I think
it's not. But it's an industry issue. It's a reader issue. It's an investor issue.
I think what killed, and there's a lot of people that are in that same boat. What killed Ron V in that situation was how many covers did we have on Layla Starr?
Yeah.
Why were people buying Layla Starr?
Mm-hmm.
I can count it's like Bueller, Bullseye Bob, and Comics Will Break Your Heart. There's 3 people, YouTubers, influencers that read the book, actually sat down, read the book, fell in love with the book, and it's an amazing piece of work. And they went on and they talked about how great this book was. And then there were 120 other social media people that are like, I just flipped this for $10.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And that's what killed that book.
That's definitely a problem. Yeah, I would agree.
Because the mindset is you buy and flip number one of a hot indie title because it's a great book, but no, 2, 3, 4, 5, they're never going to be worth anything.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm saying about this stuff. I think Rom V is a franchise saver. I don't think he's a company saver.
But his original stuff is just so brilliant.
It is really good.
He could be the one
it is really
to do
good.
the next Walking Dead or Umbrella Academy, that type of thing. Like he would be the guy.
Yeah, he could. He definitely could. Absolutely no question, because he's super talented and he's really good. And he's a fantastic writer. But I'm afraid it would be a Loyola Star thing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So when
and then a lot of these people that are building those type of franchises are doing it with Neil Gaiman, because Neil Gaiman, everything he touches turns to gold. So
right.
Yeah. Let's go with that instead of taking a chance on this Rom 5 guy.
Rom 5 is alive.
Yeah.
Yes. So there you go, man. I don't know. It's gonna be a weird couple of years in the comics world, man. I think we're gonna see a lot of changes.
I think things are picking up.
Oh, they're picking up, but I mean, I think the landscape's gonna change a lot.
All right. So a little overtime, because that's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Because I try to cut it short, and then we get off on these tangents.
And then the other half won't shut up. So there you go.
Yeah, it's just like the house. So what? What? All right.
Here, this phone. I need this phone. Don't throw that phone. Don't throw that phone. I need to finish this. Please don't throw that.
All right. So make sure to follow us on here. We come to you live every Thursday afternoon, 3:30, right here from Black Cat Comics.
Yeah.
We're going to do some reaching out, see if we can get some of the artists and creators, local guys in here. We know a handful of them that would probably love to go on camera and talk about their projects and stuff, and kind of pick their brains about these things. So be part of the conversation. Leave a comment. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. If you want to discuss any of this further, we'd be happy to do that. Every Wednesday, we go down the wall to show you all the new books. Make sure to comment and subscribe, and find the like button. Wrap some acetate around that baby and give it a couple extra staples.
What do we have to ring?
And ring the bell.
Blah, 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 blah.
And so you'll be informed anytime we go live. All right. We'll see you later, traders.
Where are they? They're there.
Yeah, they're right over there.
All right.